Second review. Here we go. Second review. Here we go. Hey, college, why? What's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums. And today I am going to do my second review. An album review, to be exact, and that would be the latest album from Boldy, James, and Sterling Toles, Manger On McNichols. Yeah. So this album had surfaced in the top 50 albums of the year list in Rate Your Music and then quickly faded back into obscurity. And I've always been curious, what's so good about this album? So I listened to it a few times and I realized that it's actually pretty good and it's pretty underrated in my opinion. So, I'm not familiar with Boldy James and Sterling Toles. Boldy James is a rapper from Detroit, Michigan, even though he's born at Atlanta, and he's actually worked with The Alchemist, the producer, twice already for his studio albums. And one of the albums he made with The Alchemist also released in this year, 2020, The Price of Tea in China, which has a very beautiful album cover. And now he's collaborating with Sterling Toles, who is a film score composer. But I'm going to admit that the production work on this album is very much professional and very much hippity hoppity. And this may not be everyone's cup of tea because the production on this album is very dense and messy. A lot of the beats are disjointed, the instrumentals are edited in a way it sounds like a bunch of noise popping up in front of your face. But in a sense, that's kind of the style that Sterling Toles is going for in this album, and it actually kind of works in his favor, especially with the very deadpan and very straightforward deliveries by Boldy James on this record, and it just works for me. The album opener Medusa has a slow, smooth bass, a sad, runny guitar, which is really beautiful, as well as lush strings. And this track is sort of about a drugged lifestyle, 10cc, 100cc in my veins, all that stuff. And it's a really solid album opening. We have Welcome to 76 with a very disjointed beat with nice plunky textures. Yeah, the instrumentals are kind of faint. We also get clarinets on this track, and it's not the only track where clarinets are featured, but it's just cool, hearing clarinets in a rap album. It's just a cool thing. But that being said, this is not one of the better tracks on the entire album. It doesn't progress as much. There is an R&B sample, but it's very, very, very faint. We have the track Detroit River Rock, which is easily my favorite track on the entire thing. The way all the instrumentals and the samples go together are amazing. We get the vocal samples, and these I believe to be tribal vocals, but I may be very, very wrong. And the instrumentals sound to me like a funeral march. It's really dejected, downtrodden, the horns, it's very sad. And then we get a pretty catchy hook on this track as well. Lock and load, cock and hold, describing a gun, describing the very violent lifestyle. If you're from Detroit, you probably know what it feels like to live there. I don't know, but given the the very infamous rumors about Detroit, maybe living in Detroit is not a good idea. Anyways, we have the track BB Butcher with its very 90s-esque descending keyboards and drum rolls. The instrumentals sort of swell and lead up to a climax towards the end. In the middle of the track, we have this very heavenly, upbeat bridge, which is totally unexpected, but it fits really well with the rest of the track, and it's fantastic. The track middle of Next Month is also pretty good, with very dense choir vocal samples. And this track is sort of about loss, the feeling of loss, and the feeling of dread and sadness after such loss. And again, I think Boldy James convinced those ideas pretty nicely. We have an interlude called The Safe, The Womb, and it's a really brief jazz rap track. If there's anything good about this track that stood out to me, it would be the glistening pianos, but then again, it's very brief and it doesn't change all that much. The track Mommy Dearest, a eulogy, also has that funeral march quality that Detroit River Rock has, with its horns, vocals, and strings all put together in a very dense fashion. And the performance on this track is more downtrodden than on any other tracks on the entire record. There is a moment in the track where it's just Boldy James vocals and just violins, just very raw, very bare bones, very stripped back. And we also get these vocal samples in this track, sort of here and there, left and right, and yeah, it's really nice, really creative as well. Birth of Bold, the christening has these really sweet and consistent and upfront R&B vocal samples with a nice slick rubbery bass, and instrumentally it's also a standout on the entire album. And then we have the track Requiem, which is a 2-minute 50-second long track. The instrumentals for me is a little plain, and overall it doesn't have much in terms of change and dynamic. The second to last track is Why Are You In Her? But after her we get a bracket E, so it's Why Are You In Here? Why Are You In Her? And it's a 1-minute long track with feel-good keyboards and some spoken word, I guess. And this track is kind of one note, but I guess it's a good track that leads up to the final track, which is called Got Flicked, the Rebirth, and it's 8.5 minutes long. And while I wish there is a bit more change and progression and dynamic on this track, given that it is this long, it's still not bad. We get moody pianos, clarinets, and a really good performance. There's a guest feature as well. And yeah, it's a pretty good jazz rap album. It could have been way more creative. It could have been way better. It certainly plays slightly safer, but still the dusty quality of the production, the performance is not bad at all, and I think this is a really well produced jazz rap album that is very underrated and overlooked. My favorite track here is Detroit River Rock, and my least favorite is Requiem. I'm giving Boldy James and Sterling Toles Manger On McNichols a light 8 out of 10. So, have you listened to the latest Boldy James and Sterling Toles from 1 to 10? How much you rate it? Like it, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see the channel grow. Also, I will be reviewing Adrienne Lenker's songs very soon. Otraza Jechom, Molchat Doma Monument, Trippy Red Pegasus, Reason, New Beginnings, and by the end of this month, King Gizzard's KG. Yay.